YouTube, welcome back and welcome to my first loadout video. Now we do things differently here. I'm not just going to post gameplay. I'm actually going to break down the gun, the build, the recoil, how you should be using it. And today we're taking a look at the Amax, so let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about the build. I know this is the biggest thing that you want to know, and also if it's not built correctly, then you're really going to struggle with it. So you should be running monolithic suppressor, XRK Zodiac S440 barrel, VLK optic, 45 round mag, and for the underbarrel, there are really two options that I would suggest. A lot of people do run Commando foregrip here, which helps with your horizontal recoil and aiming stability. Aiming stability is what is called idle sway. So when you're aiming down sight, how much does your scope sway? So Commando foregrip helps limit that. Ranger foregrip, you also get the aiming stability where it doesn't sway as much, and you get recoil control. That's vertical recoil. So in terms of the two options here, you have Commando foregrip, which helps with your horizontal recoil. You have Ranger foregrip, which helps with your vertical recoil. And I'm going to show you recoil patterns here in a minute. Now, in terms of reticle, I'd run one of two. Ultimately, it's what you feel most comfortable with, but I would either recommend the T-pose or the default. Those are kind of the two easiest ones to use and are the cleanest. I do run T-pose here. So, with that being said, let's now get into recoil patterns. Okay, as you know, one of the biggest things that I think helps with accuracy is understanding the recoil pattern. If you haven't seen my video on how to get better accuracy, make sure you go check it out. But understanding the recoil pattern allows you to understand how you have to maneuver your right stick or mouse to control the gun. So first up, we're going to take a look at the Commando foregrip on the Amax. And let's just take a quick look at the recoil pattern. So there's really no comparison here yet, as you'll be able to see in a second. When I compare it to the Ranger, this does have less horizontal recoil and more vertical recoil. So let's take a quick look at the Ranger and then we'll compare them. Okay, so here's what the Ranger foregrip recoil pattern looks like. And I want to start at the same spot, or try to. Let's go ahead and shoot the full clip. So as you can see, it has a little bit more horizontal recoil, but ultimately when it comes down to it, the vertical recoil is much less. And this is just a preference thing. For me, I tend to struggle with vertical recoil, but can control the horizontal, which is why I go with Ranger foregrip. Other people are the opposite. Other people kind of struggle with the horizontal recoil, so they want their attachments to help with that, hence the Commando foregrip, and are able to control that vertical recoil. It's ultimately preference, and on top of preference, what do you play better with? I suggest that you try out both of them, give them a shot, see what you actually play better with, and then make a decision from there. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is visual recoil. The Amax has a lot of visual recoil when it comes to the scope bouncing. So here's what I mean. Go back 15 meters. Watch particularly the scope. See how that's a little bit smoother? Now I'm going to show you what happens if you put your FOV down to 80, which is what console players play on. I want you to understand here that there really isn't less recoil, even though the scope bounces more. Those recoil patterns are exactly the same. So even though the scope is bouncing more, the recoil pattern is the same, and that's just something you have to keep in mind on console, or if you are on PC playing on a lower FOV, is that your recoil is significantly different than what the scope feels like. Last up, let's talk about the range that you should be using this. This is your long range option, your 20, 30, 40, all the way up to, 60, 70, 80 meter range. This is the gun you should be using. Now, this isn't a close quarter gun. You need to be running a submachine gun, a shotgun, something like the MAC-10, Bullfrog, maybe even the FFAR if you want to go double ARs. But you need something for those close quarters, especially because of the VLK optic. It's going to make it very hard to hit people that are really up close to you. In terms of sniper support, I don't think you should be using the Amax as sniper support. You can if you want to, but again, you're going to be in a tough spot in those close quarters. And there are better options for sniper support out there. Just going through some, the Bullfrog, the Ram 7, the Cold War XM4, the MAC-10. There are other options that are better and you'll be more, that are more suitable than the Amax for that sniper support. Let me know what gun you want me to do next. Let me know if this was helpful. Let's get better today and subscribe for more.